Hey everybody, Miss Anna here with our weekly Bible school lesson. And, one thing when we're all together for church school on Sunday mornings, we usually have some kind of snack together. And so, goldfish or graham crackers, or on a special occasion, some donuts or cupcakes to celebrate something. But since we haven't been together, the snacks have been sitting there. So I've had to go pick some up and share them with people so they don't go to waste. And I was picking up some of our goldfish, and I thought that they were a really good example for our Bible lesson this week. It's from the book of Mark, chapter 12, verses 38 through 44. And it's about a widow, a woman who gives a lot. But it doesn't seem like a lot to some people. And so I'm going to use our goldfish to ask you a question. So if we served up our snack goldfish, and the two plates that two kids got were this. Someone got this plate here with all these goldfish. There's probably, 25 goldfish on there. And someone got this plate with two goldfish. That's what they had. And then that there was someone else that came to the table that needed some goldfish, that they didn't have any on their plate. And so if this person here took 5 of their goldfish and gave them to that person, all right? And then this person took their 2 goldfish and gave them to that person. I wonder who gave more. So the person that gave the 5 goldfish, that's 5 is a bigger number than the 2 the other person gave. But giving isn't just about the amount we give. Jesus tells us over and over again that what God is concerned with is our hearts. And so when someone who just has 2 goldfish gives away all of them so somebody else can have some, actually is giving away more from their hearts than someone that might have a lot and gives away a bigger number, but they still have a lot for themselves. So it didn't feel like a lot to give away. So when we're thinking about what it means to give and give generously, the way that God wants us to from our hearts, it's not going to look the same for everybody. What it's going to look like is us listening to what God wants from us and not holding on to things just for ourselves, but knowing that if we give things away, God gives us what we need. So I'm going to read our Bible lesson called The Widow's Offering. And that comes from our Spark Storybook Bible. Okay. So, and again, if you want to find it in the bigger Bible, it's in Mark chapter 12, verses 38 through 44. Jesus sat down outside a temple and taught the disciples how to share. "Do you see that rich man in fancy robes?" Jesus asked the disciples. They looked around and saw him. He twirled his robes when he saw that they were watching him. "I must be very special," thought the rich man. The man in fancy robes stopped in front of a money box outside the temple. He slowly reached into his money purse and pulled out several coins. One by one, he held them up in the sun so they flashed so everybody could see. "It's time for me to give to the poor," he said very loudly. The coins made a loud clang as he dropped them into the money box. Now Jesus asked the disciples another question. "Do you see that poor old widow?" Jesus whispered. He whispered the question because he didn't want to scare her. She looked this way and that way. She tried to hide in the crowd. She bent over the money box. Clink, clink. Her 2 tiny coins barely made a sound as she dropped them in. The old woman reached her hand into her pocket. It was empty now. Quietly, the poor woman shuffled away. "Did you notice?" asked Jesus. The man in the fancy robes gave just a little of his riches and showed off a lot. The widow gave only 2 coins the only 2 coins she had, and kept quiet about it. She shared everything. She is the one who gave the most. This is how I want you to share. So that's Jesus sharing this story and lesson with his disciples. And it's the same lesson for us, that is how Jesus wants us to give. To give with our hearts and to give generously, not kind of counting out coins one by one and saying, okay, that's just enough that I should give, and I hope everyone sees what I'm doing so they know what a good person I am. But instead, God wants us to be joyful with our hearts. And when we do a good job of praying and listening to God, God will tell us what God wants from us. So I hope this week that you guys can find ways to be generous, to give to people around you. Maybe it's sharing the goldfish. Maybe it's helping around the house. Maybe it's giving a hug to someone who needs it. I look forward to seeing you guys soon, and I hope you have a great week. Bye.